Good evening, everyone. This is Jamal Maxsam. I wanted to just share some things with you. I am glad that you are able to tune in. I am sharing and talking about leading in the new normal. Now, I'm going to, for the first time on a Facebook Live, I'm, it doesn't look like I could share the screen as I am doing the live. So I wanted to, so I'll make this PowerPoint that I have available. I'll make it available to you. So, but we're going to keep it moving. So I'm talking about leading in the new normal. Now, what I mean about this new normal, I am talking about the new normal that we find ourselves in the world, as well as in the individual countries and states that you may be tuning in from. You know, this virus has caused a lot of things to shut down, a lot of stay-at-home orders. Even just as recently as yesterday, the governor of the state of Ohio, where I live, declared that schools will not reopen this year and is unsure about how schools will continue in the fall. And so with that being said, there are a lot of things that are up in the air. We don't know how long the stay-at-home order will be in effect. I know that some states in the United States are already trying to get to normal and releasing people from the stay-at-home order, which others have said are premature. So we have to figure out, how do we lead in this new place that is already upon us? It's not coming, it's upon us. How do we lead in what will be a new normal? Because things will not go back to how they were. As a result of this virus, things have changed forever. Even when everywhere across the world, even when the stay-at-home orders are lifted in the various countries and states, it still will not go back to how it was at first. So you have to be prepared to lead in this new normal. So I'm going to give you an overview of what we're going to talk about today. I only plan to spend approximately like 30 minutes or so with you guys. This is not a full training that I do, but I wanted to really just share from my heart and give you some strategies and tips that you can use as you are leading in this new place. So the first thing is, I'm gonna just talk about 5 points of focus, 5 things that should have your attention right now as you are leading in this new season. Some of them are just going to be foundational, so I'm going to go over them extremely quickly, but then there will be two pieces, point four and point five, which is the meat of what we're going to talk about today, which is where I will spend the most time. Some of those other points, like I said, are foundational and I discuss in other trainings. So, but first, before we get started, I just want to share a little bit about myself so you'll know why I'm sharing this with you and really have some comfort in the strategies that I'm sharing with you. I know today everybody's a guru, everybody's an expert, everybody has a mastermind, and so, but I'm not that guy who's just jumping on the bandwagon of claiming to be something that I'm not. I have several educational degrees. I am well educated. I have degrees in business management, degrees in education, degrees in educational leadership, which is okay and fine and good. But along with that education, I also have experience. The last 10 years I've spent serving in various leadership roles. Actually, longer than 10 years. It's been about 14 years now. I've spent serving in various leadership roles in the field of education. I started out as a teacher, then was a lead teacher, then was a principal, assistant principal. I worked in charter schools or community schools, as they're called. I worked in traditional public schools. I've led schools that service 250 students all the way up to 950 students, to being in a building that services 2,100 students. I've led teams of 5, 10, 20, up to 92. And so I have a lot of experience leading people. I have leadership roles in nonprofits. I sit on a board of a nonprofit organization. And I've been in leadership since I was 16 years old. Had my first management position when I was 16, leading people who were adults as well as my own age. And so, but the biggest thing is, I coach small businesses, it's those small business leaders who feel overwhelmed, at the position and in their business, and don't feel like they have the time to live life outside of their business. I provide coaching to help them actually live their life outside of work, because we're not designed to work all the time. Work should be an expression of what we do. It shouldn't be all of what we do. So I help small business owners, find that balance and free themselves up. But I've been a student of leadership almost all my life, been in these different positions. And the main thing that you need to know, while all of my experience, all of my education, my interactions with other people, my experience leading other people, all of that is good. But the main thing is that I want to help other people. I want to help other leaders. I'm passionate about school leaders. I'm passionate about entrepreneurs. I'm passionate about leaders, period, because leadership is a challenging position. It is not the easiest thing to do, to try to connect with people on a professional level, connect them to your vision, and then also make sure that they produce a product or produce or complete a task the way they're supposed to be produced or completed, so that the organization can meet its goals, make money and that kind of thing. It's not easy because you're often caught in the middle, depending on where you lead and what your position is of leadership. And you also can become a target. People will dislike the message, so they dislike the messenger. And so I'm passionate about really coaching and helping leaders because I want you to be successful. You are connected to a business or organization for a reason, and that reason is to fulfill a purpose. And if you're not leading effectively, you cannot fulfill that purpose. All right. So I want you just to really reflect on something really quick. What are some of the things that you are doing right now? What are some of the things that are taking up your time right now? What are you focusing on? And as you reflect on that, you can take notes, you can write it down, or you can comment in the chat and just let me know what you are reflecting on at this moment in time during this season, while we're dealing with this virus and what people are calling the global pandemic. What is your focus? What has your attention? Okay. Now that you've thought about what your focus is, and hopefully you wrote it down, and if you're seeing this live, again, you can comment in the chat. If you are not seeing this live, if you're seeing the replay, you can still comment, or you can still share with me by sending me a private message here on Facebook, or you can send me an email, which I will give you the address to at the end. So, but whatever you have to really hone in on what your focus is. You can't allow things to just occupy your mind, and you can't allow other things to establish their priorities in your life as you're leading. You have to be the one in control. You have to be the one to set up and establish your priorities so that you can make sure everything you want to accomplish, you are accomplishing. So I'm going to suggest 5 things that we will focus on. As I said in the beginning, 2 of them are the meat of the content today, and the other ones I'm just going to breeze over. The first thing is you need to focus on is self-care. You cannot properly care for other people without caring for yourself first. When you travel on an airplane, you'll notice that when the flight attendants and the flight assistants do the safety warnings, what they will often share is that if the cabin would lose oxygen and the mask will come down, that you must secure your mask first before trying to secure it on someone else. The main thing is, as a leader, you cannot lead on empty. You cannot give what you don't have. You can't pour into someone else's life when you are not full yourself. While it seems selfish, it is not selfish. It's actually selfless, because the better you take care of yourself and the better you engage in self-care, the sharper you will be to deal with other people and to help them meet their needs. Because if you do not, it is easy to make a mistake when you're dealing with people when you're not 100%. You can be caught at the wrong moment. You can be caught at, you can snap at them or treat them badly unnecessarily. You can make communication errors. Sometimes the systems and processes things can come super easy, and we can do those like the back of our hand. But I'm talking about the art of connecting with people, the real meat of the influence and leadership. You have to be on your A game with that, because you cannot afford to make a mistake. Having a bad day, and you can apologize and all of that kind of thing, but people will remember how you treated them, even if you apologize. Sometimes people can get funny and wonder if you really mean it, when you apologize, or even when you admit that you were wrong. Some of your team may appreciate your vulnerability and call that good leadership, and then some members will say, nah, he didn't mean it, he just trying to say whatever, or she didn't mean it, she just trying to do whatever. And so you have to make sure you're always on your A game, because when you're leading, everyone who you are leading might not necessarily be for you, or support you. So you have to take that in mind, because some people are not, that you're leading and that are on your team, they don't support you. So you definitely have to be 100%, so you can be careful. Now, it's unfortunate that on your team you will have a mixture of supporters and non-supporters, but that's just the reality of leadership, and you have to basically lead around them, which I get into detail in the different training, but I just wanted to throw that out there because you have to be 100%. Number two, the second thing that you have to focus on is to demonstrate care for your team. You need to demonstrate, after you care for yourself, you have to be demonstrating care for your team. People don't care. People don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. That's a quote from John Maxwell, which basically means this: they don't care about your skill set. They don't care about the vision. They don't care about anything you're trying to accomplish until they know they are cared for first. Self-care and belonging is one of the basic human needs that's identified by Maslow on the hierarchy of needs. And so it is basically the third tier. First is basics like food and shelter. The next thing is safety, but number three is care. Now, when you demonstrate that you care for your team, you not only are meeting that need for belonging, but also meeting the need of safety and security. Because as a leader, if your people don't think you care for them, then they would not feel secure in the position of serving in your organization or working in your business, because they will wonder if they are expendable. And we've all been treated like we're expendable, regardless of how talented we are and how much we pour into the business or organization or place of employment. We've all done that, and we've all been treated like we were expendable. And so we know how that feels. And so you don't want your team to feel that way, because they will check out and they will not give their best work. They will not give themselves to what they need to give themselves to, because they will wonder what's the use, or that person isn't going to care, doesn't care anyway. So that's your second focus. You should demonstrate how much you care for your team, which can create momentum and establish a greater degree of trust with your team. And trust is the foundation of any functional relationship. And so you have to this will give you brownie points towards building trust, because you don't just build trust in one instance, you continuously build trust. But on the flip side, you can lose trust in one instance, and it'll take you a long time to rebuild it. So never take for granted that your team trusts you, because they might not always trust you if you don't continue to demonstrate care to them and demonstrate things that will make them feel trusted. Now, I would say this as a point to remember: make a strong distinction of doing things, of earning trust while you do things, and doing things just to earn their trust. You are not an entertainer. You are not a performer. You don't have to do backflips and jump through hoops, as we say, or do anything special, or get into this performance-based trust earning type of situation, because that is not why you are in your organization. You can build trust as you are doing things, and as you are just treating them right, which is the right thing to do. But if your focus becomes on simply earning their trust, then that takes you out of alignment with how you should be leading and how you should be influencing them to accomplish the vision. So it's trust is necessary. Never take it for granted. And then always try to maintain that trust. But remember, you don't have to perform. You're not a performer. Okay. So, number three, the third thing that you should focus on right now is your customer and client care. Your clients and your customers that you deal with in your business, you should be demonstrating some type of care for them. You should be reaching out to them, letting them know that you're thinking about them, that you're here for them, that you care about them. And it is not about a sale. It is not, I care for you, buy my product. It's not about that. It's about demonstrating genuine care, letting your customers and clients see your heart, because they will remember how you are there for them, how much care you show for them during a situation like this, or a crisis, or a challenging time. When these times are over, they will demonstrate loyalty to the people who actually were genuine and looked at them beyond a sale, or a swipe of their card, or a financial transaction. And so your care should have nothing to do with the sale of your product. It should just be you reaching out and keeping that connection with them and letting them know that you are here for them. Now, I'm not saying pester and bug them, but I am still saying you need to demonstrate care and keep connected. Okay. And then focus number four, which I'm going to spend a little more time on because it's one of the main things you need to focus on. Focus number four is your product and service delivery. You should have by now adjusted how you deliver your product or service because of how, the stay at home orders and all of that. So you should have adjusted. If you are in a business where you can't operate right now, I want to encourage you to begin to think creatively on how you can operate, because this thing, even when the stay-at-home order is lifted, like I said before, things have changed forever. So you should be thinking now, how do I deliver my product, my service, and still begin to generate revenue, or at least cover my basic needs while there are certain limitations. And so you should be focusing on that. What can I do? How can I tailor my service and my product? And so one of the things you can do, I'm going to give you some points to think about, because I don't know your specific industry. In this format, I can't speak to exactly what you should do. And I would never tell you exactly what to do anyway. What I would do is I would just kind of help you discover the answers, because there's always multiple ways to do a thing, and you have to figure out which way is best for you. And so, but here's some things you can think about. What product or service can you deliver virtually? If you are in the fitness industry, can you have people log on to your website, and then begin to work out with you as you stream it live? If you are in the hair care industry or something like that, what kind of classes can you offer online until your clients are able to come see you again face to face? If you're in the restaurant industry, a lot of the restaurants in this area have gone to delivery and carry out only. So, you can focus on that. If you are in the manufacturing industry, what is it that you can manufacture that would not only help keep people safe during this time, but how can you ship it to them, via, Amazon or some other method, so they can still get to your product? And then the second thing you want to think about in your product and service delivery is what related product, or I call it a spin-off, can you deliver? If you can't deliver your product because specifically requires face-to-face interaction, what spin-off product can you create? For example, if you're a public speaker, then you probably need to begin to do some webinars and have speaking engagements virtually. If you're a musician, do some virtual concerts and have people log in. And so what things can you do, or what can you create that's related to your original product or service right now that will help you? And then as you think about the future, think about how you can continue to operate that spin-off product while operating the product, your previous product, in the new conditions. So when a stay-at-home order is lifted, how will you deliver that new product? If it requires face-to-face, you will probably have to make some adjustments to account for new precautions that will be in place. And some of those precautions I'm going to talk about later in another section, but just keep that in mind. And then think about, what can you deliver that if you can deliver it virtually, how can you deliver it with zero contact to your people? What kind of contact or service can I offer where I can deliver it where I don't have to have my employees have contact with people? And if you're doing that, what safeguards can my team take? Are they wearing the gloves and masks while they're out, so that we make sure that they are safe? All right. So the next thing you should focus on, which is the meat of this presentation, is your vision for the future. Ever since one person began to talk about leading, in a crisis, then all of a sudden I started seeing everybody talk about how to lead in a crisis and leading through a crisis, which is good information, but there seems to be a wave of things that come, during this time. I noticed one person say that had put a post on social media saying that during this time you should be developing a business or sharpening yourself and come out with a new skill. And if you didn't, you're wasting time. But then I saw somebody else say, well, if you didn't, it's okay. We're dealing with a challenge. And so then everybody started posting the it's okay. Then everybody started, then a whole bunch of people started posting the opposing view. So information comes in waves, like tidal waves, and they will often say the opposite thing. So in the midst of this opposite thing, I want you to be thinking about your future. Now, it's hard to think about your future when you don't know what that future is going to be, which is an aspect. As a leader, you have to be the beacon of hope and the beacon of faith, meaning that you have to try to anticipate what the future will be like, even though you don't see it yet. You have to kind of have some insight into your industry, but definitely insight into how your business can operate. And that does not come overnight, and it doesn't come easy. So you have to spend a lot of quiet time, figuring this thing out, thinking about this thing. I would say meditating on the thing is a phrase I use when you are thinking, heavily about it, and just allowing the answers to come to you, when you're in a quiet time. And so when you don't know exactly what the new normal look like, because things change daily, so you have to prepare as best you can. Information is going to come daily and has been coming daily for the past couple of months. So prepare as best you can and make sure, because I'm going to tell you this, as a leader, the people you are leading are going to look to you for some answers, and they're going to look to you for them quickly. If you don't have split-second answers, that you're going to look like you're unprepared, and it is not going to help them feel any sense of stability. As well as it, depending on your position in the organization of your leadership, there may be other leaders like your peers or the people you report to. They may be asking you for input as they try to develop the answer. So you would need to make sure you have thought something through and have some ideas written on paper or whiteboarded out, as I like to do, because I brainstorm on whiteboards, and now I'm brainstorming on windows and everything else. But have something that you can offer as a solution, because that is you as the leader. You are an answer, you are a solution. You provide part of the solutions that are needed during this time. So ensure those plans that you create are flexible, meaning they can easily be adapted or adjusted as information comes and things are adapted or adjusted. So you have to plan, and I would suggest you plan for a blend of how you are operating now as well as how you operated before. And then you must determine if how you operated before has to be completely done away with. But I would think of this as a blend. How you're functioning now with the mesh of how you functioned before to produce a totally different way of functioning. Use the best adaptations from this time to enhance how you used to operate. And because you're going to have to deal with an increased precaution of healthcare for the whole society once these stay-at-home orders are lifted. So here's my first strategy for you. Or I know I've been given a lot, but I call this the first strategy for your future, besides the product part that we talked about. Is your team return? What are you going to do for your team? And notice I always use the term team. I don't say employees, even though they technically work for you and you evaluate them and things like that. You must view them as a team member. That has to be your perspective. And everybody's role on the team is different. Your role is to lead. Their role is to support and do other assignments, and other functions according to the job description and that you may assign them, but their role is equally as important as yours. So you have to see it as a team approach, because that helps keep you out of a place of pride, because you never want to lead from a place of pride thinking you're better, thinking you are entitled for people to follow you and people have to listen to you, because the truth is people don't have to do anything. They don't have to listen to you, and if you come across and come off the wrong way, they won't listen to you. Okay, so when your team returns, you want to make sure you do a couple of things. Number one, adjust your physical space, which means you have to deal with the distancing. Even though right now they're saying 6 feet of distancing, during this thing, you're going to have to arrange your physical space to accommodate some level of distancing to ensure that your people feel safe. Remember, safety is number two under Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So they have to feel safe upon their return, because some people might quit if they feel like you're not taking the necessary precautions. So distance, arrange your physical workspace to create more distance in your building between your employees, so they can feel safe. Even if you can't do the 6 feet thing, at least try to do 3 or 4. And if you cannot rearrange your workspaces, as far as where your people are working, then look to do some other type of barrier type of situation, where either clear plastic barriers with a hard plastic, or do some kind of something to make them feel like they are being safe or that they are secure. And then you're going to have to look at sanitizing your physical space. I recommend you just have each employee, wipe down and sanitize down their area prior to starting work. I know that there are some precautions I say before and after. Well, if you do it after, what's the point of doing it before? I mean, so you can do it before and after, but especially before they start work. You want to make sure they sanitize down their own area, and then encourage them to use hand sanitizer and things like that frequently. Encourage them to, and you could even put some up in your physical location at various places that are convenient for your employees to easily reach. And then you want to make sure that you continually encourage the hand washing procedures of washing their hands for at least 3 minutes every 20 minutes and things like that, and make sure you have lotion and stuff like that available, because as they're washing their hands, their skins are going to get dry. And even though lotion seems like a minute thing, it will speak a lot to your employees to show that you're sensitive about you're sensitive to their needs about the encouragement of hand washing, but also the fact that they will need to put lotion on so their skin doesn't feel funny. Okay? So the next thing, when your team returns, think about morale. Upon their return, I suggest you conduct some type of welcome back celebration / meeting. The main focus is celebration. And so, decorate, have them come into a meeting area or wherever it is you hold your meetings, have it decorated, put out a few balloons or something like that, and then have some upbeat music playing, that'll get the energy going. Of course, be careful with the music so it doesn't say anything inappropriate, but have some upbeat modern music playing. Don't try to pull music that's too old, where your team would think, oh man, it'll just kind of turn them off more than get them excited. So upbeat music upon entry. Provide some food for them if you can. Employees love to eat, especially at work. I don't know what it is, but people love to eat at work. So provide some food, some type of continental breakfast for them. Have some sign that says welcome back. Do a touch, have a welcome back card, listed on in their workspace or in their mailbox or something like that. And then, but I'm gonna tell you, don't just do the welcome back, I'm glad you're here, and expect them to just be like, okay, cool, go to work. The welcome back card should be in conjunction with the food, the music, the decoration, and a gathering prior to them starting work. Because even though some people are working from home, they still need to process and get their emotions back in alignment with returning to working in the physical place, in your physical space, because it's different. And so it's going to feel funny for them, going back to work, because they understand, again, the physical space of how clean their homes are. But now they're going back into this public space that they haven't been in several months. So don't take it for granted. Do these things to encourage the morale of your team. You can tell this is live because folks trying to call me while I'm teaching this lesson. Sheesh. so so go ahead and do those things I suggested. Now, next, with your team morale, make sure that you take that time to reconnect them to the vision. The vision has to be, even though they've been working, most of them have been working from home, some of them haven't. Reconnect them to your vision. Talk about the vision of your business, your organization, the why. Why do you exist? You don't just simply exist to make money. Your organization exists to serve, provide some type of service for people, or to serve the greater good in some kind of way through the product and service they offer. So connect them with the vision of the more meaningful part of the vision. Now, your business has a dual purpose. It's supposed to make money. It's the obligation of the business to make money, but it's also supposed to make an impact through the product or service. And so making an impact, and making sales, they go hand in hand. The more sales you make, the more impact. The more your impact, the more your sales. Okay. So connect them to the vision. And then connect that vision of your organization, your business, your school, whatever, to the day-to-day tasks. Don't leave it so far up here that they don't see the connection with what they do on a daily, hourly, and minute-by-minute basis. Everything they should have some kind of connection of how it affects and impacts the bigger picture. So these 20 minutes or 30 minutes of work, or this task that I'm doing every day, connects to the business or the larger vision in some type of way. So you have to make sure they have that connection so that they can have the sense of value and accomplishment, that they're fulfilling a greater purpose from being connected to and a part of your team and your organization. So connected to their daily work, to the vision, and then highlight their importance and the importance of their role in it. Don't just let it be so big and, yeah, we can do this without you. We don't need you. We don't have to have you. If we let you go, we'll just find somebody else. Some part of that is true. If somebody leaves you, we can find somebody else. True that. But you want to make sure you highlight their importance. They bring a specific skill set to your organization that you value, which is why you hired them. So you need to let them know that they are important and you value them, and what they do is important, and they play a significant role. Okay, and that is the time to do it. As soon as they return, you share the vision, connect their daily tasks to it, and connect their importance to the task, their importance as a individual. Okay, then, because I want you to remember, and this would be really great for you to see when you see the slides. Leadership is about influencing people. That's the essence of what leadership is. But I would say it like this: a lot of people define leadership as influence and they just leave it like that. But here I define leadership as influencing people to accomplish a task or fulfill a purpose. That is leadership. You're not influencing your team just for the sake of influencing them. You are influencing them to fulfill a purpose, to accomplish a task, to produce a result. And when you are influencing people, it's all about connection. You can't influence people who do not feel like they are connected to you. You have to connect people to the vision. Just like I just said, they have to feel connected to the vision of your organization. They have to feel connected to you as a leader. They have to feel connected to the people around them, building that sense of community within your organization. And they have to feel connected to the task. Because if they feel bored, or if the task isn't challenging, or they feel like the task is a waste of their skills, they will not stay. They will want to go somewhere where their skills are used at the highest. If they don't get along with the people they work with, they may stay depending on the money or the pay, but After a while, they may get tired of that too. If they don't connect with you as a leader, they may stay because of the money and the pay or because of their co-workers, but only for so long. If they don't feel connected to the vision, they're going to wonder why they're there, and they're going to want to work somewhere where the vision aligns more with their own personal core values. So all of these things have to be in place: connection with the work, connection with the community, the other people in the organization, connection with you as the leader, and connection with the vision. Okay. So that is the time to reestablish that connection, because connecting with anyone or anything in an organization is based upon is going to cause you to deal with that person's thoughts and their perceptions, which will determine how they feel. People can be emotional even though they are rational, because what they think on, it will shape their perspective, and their thoughts and perspective will then shape their emotions. And so you have to make sure that you are properly navigating through how to connect with people. Connecting is an art as well as a science, meaning you try, and if it didn't work, you try something different. But it's an art because it's organic, and you have to just kind of let it flow. You can't try too hard, but you have to put forth some effort. And so you got to make sure you're doing that and using their return, the first day back, as that opportunity was work wonders for you, and go a long way. Okay. Now, if you wait till it's been a couple weeks, yeah, it may be effective, but not as effective as the first day. Okay. So I'm telling you to do this on the first day. Now, you also have to when you're dealing with your team, think about their morale. You have to put something in place to provide emotional support, because they just dealt with having to stay at home for a while. Some of them had to deal with their kids being at home and navigating through them, the remote learning type of situations, navigating through people who they know who were affected by the virus. Some may have died, some people that they know, or some people, or they may know people who have family members, or they may have had family members who may have unfortunately died or contracted the virus, but have gotten well. So all the emotional responses to all that's going on, you want to make sure that you are sensitive to when they return to you. You can't just be this insensitive guy or girl or insensitive leader that just says, hey, get to work, you're getting paid. I mean, yeah, but you got to think about how they are feeling as they are responding to what's going on. Everyone is not responding like you. So be sensitive about that, because they may just be dealing with the fact that fear was prevalent during this time. Watching all the reports and seeing the death tolls and, the images, even if they weren't affected, there's some bit of uncertainty which can try to bring fear. So you got to be prepared to provide emotional support. And here's how you can do it. You can have a team of counselors, if your organization provides that, on standby to talk to your team members as needed. And whenever they need to talk, there should be some type of number or person they can go to that's a counselor that they can talk to. If you do not have counselors in your organization, then you're going to have to be the person to have the listening ear. Don't try to diagnose, just listen and be like, hey, anytime you want to talk, I'm here for you. I'm ready to talk. And when they come to talk to you, actually sit there and listen. Don't try to provide solutions. Don't try to give advice. Just listen and be understanding. Okay? All right. Also, when they come back, ease your team back into the work. Be lenient with the time frames for work completion that you have set. Because I know some stuff have to be done at a certain time and you can't deviate from those due dates. I get it. But as much leniency as you can, do that, so it'll help them ease back into the work in your organization at your particular location. Okay. Now, that's all the strategies I wanted to share with you. Again, I didn't want to do long because this wasn't really a full training, but I like to keep my trainings, no more than 40 minutes or so, because I want to make sure that they provide value, but they're still short. Nobody has time to watch 90-minute and 2-hour long videos. So I hope that this was beneficial for you and gave you some strategies that you can implement so you can prepare to lead right. So you can be prepared to lead right now in this season. Remember, it's not coming. It's upon you right now. You're in it. But so you can be better prepared for when your team has to come back. All right. So if you want to reach me for any reason, you can reach out to me here on Facebook, which is where I'm doing this thing live, or you can send an email to info@jamalmaxsam.org. That is info, info, at Jamal, Jamal, Maxsam, Maxsam.org. That way you can send me an email, reach out to me directly, and I will respond to you and help you the best way I can. All right, so everyone stay safe and be successful.